You know that feeling, right? That almost automatic scroll through your feed, the phone humming in your hand. You see this endless stream of faces and moments and meals. It's this bright, loud declaration saying, "I'm here, this is me." But what about the people who aren't in that picture? What happens when someone just chooses to be quiet? Let's get into it.
So you're scrolling, and you'll land on a profile. There's a name, maybe a quick bio, but where the face should be, there's just that generic gray outline. I bet your first thought is something simple, right? Like, oh, maybe they're just shy, or they don't really care about social media. But what if that empty space isn't an oversight? What if it's a choice? What if that silence is actually saying something?
I mean, think about it. The whole world of social media is built on a pretty simple idea. Show up, be seen, get a reaction. These platforms are literally designed to reward us for sharing. Our visibility becomes a kind of currency. So when someone decides not to post, especially something as basic as a profile picture, it's like this quiet little argument against the whole idea that we have to live our lives out loud.
And there's some really fascinating science behind why we get so hooked on that validation. Getting likes and comments, it literally lights up the reward centers in our brains. We're talking about the same parts that fire up for things like delicious food or even money. To put it simply, these platforms can trap us in this really powerful feedback loop that just keeps us coming back for one more hit. Stepping away from that, that's no small thing. To really get what this looks like in the real world, let's talk about two people, Arya and Rohit. Now, they aren't actual individuals, but their stories are put together from tons of real interviews and research. They really capture the choices that people are making every single day. So first, let's meet Arya. She's 22, a literature student. Her phone is absolutely packed with photos, beautiful moments she's captured, but you'd almost never see them online. She's definitely present. She uses apps to connect with her friends, but her own life stays pretty much behind a curtain. You might even know someone just like her. And this quote right here, it just cuts right to the heart of it for her. Arya feels like the second she posts a photo, this really personal, private experience suddenly becomes public entertainment. It's a story for strangers to interpret. And for her, the choice is about protecting her memories, keeping them truly hers. And then we have Rohit. He's 36. He runs his own small business, and he used to be the guy who posted everything. You know, big wins at work, perfect family vacations, the whole curated highlight reel. But after a while, he just got tired. He started to feel like he was only experiencing things so he'd have something to post later. For Rohit, the big light bulb moment was this feeling of constant performance. He started seeing his online presence as this kind of emotional work, like a second job that he wasn't getting paid for. So he made a choice. He decided to stop performing happiness and just start living it. The personal choices that Arya and Rohit made, they're actually rooted in some really well-understood psychological ideas. So let's break down 4 of the key mechanisms that help explain their decisions and the decisions of so many other people to stay quiet online. Okay, first up is something psychologists call psychological ownership. It's that really deep, gut feeling that an experience or a memory is yours and yours alone. And research actually suggests that when we share something, that feeling of ownership can get a little watered down. So for someone like Arya, not posting is how she protects the value of her most important moments. And that brings us right back to that reward loop we talked about. For a guy like Rohit, stepping away from posting is a real act of discipline. It's a conscious decision to resist that cycle of constantly looking for validation from the outside. He's choosing to find his satisfaction internally, not from an algorithm. Next, we've got social comparison. The feed, well, it can sometimes feel like a mirror, right? But it's more like a funhouse mirror. We end up comparing our own messy, behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's perfectly polished highlight reel. And this isn't just a hunch. Study after study shows that this kind of constant comparison can take a real toll on our mood and our self-esteem. And finally, there's the big one, FOMO, or the fear of missing out. That nagging anxiety can push people to constantly check their feeds just to feel like they're in the loop. But for some, that pressure cooker of anxiety gets to be too much. And the best move is just to step away entirely, to escape that cycle and get some peace. But here's the thing. It's really important to remember it's not all doom and gloom. On one hand, yeah, we see these potential harms, the pressure to perform, the anxiety. But on the other hand, social media offers real community, genuine connection, and absolutely vital support for millions of people. Opting out isn't automatically the better choice for everyone. It's all about context. So what can we take away from all this? Well, it seems like we can see 3 main pathways that lead people to choose silence. There's the principled path, which is a philosophical choice against performance culture.
There's the restorative path, which is what people like Rohit take to heal from burnout. And then there's a fear-based path, for people who are avoiding judgment or anxiety. And of course, for any one person, these paths can definitely overlap.
And for that restorative path, there's some really solid science to back it up. For instance, a 2018 study had a group of young adults limit their social media to just 30 minutes a day. And the results were pretty amazing. After only 3 weeks, they reported feeling significantly less lonely and less depressed.
Now, we also have to be honest about what we don't know. While taking short breaks from social media seems to have clear benefits, the long-term effects of permanently not posting, well, on things like your career or your relationships, that's still pretty much unverified. We just need more research to really understand the full impact.
All right, so we've spent a lot of time on the why. Let's switch gears and talk about the how. If any of this is hitting home for you, and maybe you're rethinking your own online habits, here's some practical, research-backed advice. And this isn't about telling you what to do, it's just about helping you be more intentional.
First, just take a second to ask yourself, am I posting because I want to genuinely connect with people, or am I looking for approval? Second, try a little experiment. Take a 3-week break from posting. Not from social media entirely, just from posting, and just see how you feel. Third, try building some private rituals, like keeping a physical journal or a private photo album on your computer. And finally, and this is a big one, if you're in a close relationship, maybe chat about what you're comfortable with sharing, just to make sure you're on the same page.
The author Cal Newport puts it really well. He basically argues that living intentionally with technology isn't about throwing it all away. It's about consciously choosing the tools that actually line up with your values, instead of just letting the platforms and their algorithms decide your priorities for you. It's really about choosing to be present over choosing to perform. And that really brings us to our last question, and this is one I want you to take with you. The next time you see one of those profiles without a photo, maybe instead of wondering what they might be hiding, we could ask what they might be protecting. And then, maybe we can turn that question on ourselves. What parts of our own lives do we want to keep, just for us?